Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bad news for the petrodollar and bad news for Saudi Arabia and for their monarchy. Why? Because it seems like the Saudis would like to diversify the currency they sell their oil in, which is a bad idea. Why? Because you can look at two examples and realize that those two people ended up in a certain way. And I'm talking about Saddam Hussein and I'm talking about Gaddafi. So, Iraq and Libya. And both these bad dudes kind of had the same ideas and tried to change things and switch into euros, if I remember, or at least they spoke about it. So I don't know, that was a bad idea, I think. Now the Saudis are challenging the Americans not only by the fact that they stopped supplying more oil on the market when Biden administration wanted them to do that, but now with this. So they decreased the output of oil on the market. Not good for the Americans and for the world economies that are actually taking a, if you know what I mean. And on the contrary, they sell oil at a higher price to the Western countries, but at a discount to the East Asian countries and South Asian countries, which is again not right from some people's perspective anyway. So now the Saudis are even going deeper, and I think this is a very murky, dangerous water. You know, the one that doesn't really move. You don't see the bottom. Now that's not good. So let's see what exactly these guys, how they're gonna shoot themselves in the wherever they are, but I don't see them surviving for much longer. And anyway. I think a little regime change is in the books in the near future. So this article comes from MoneyWise, and it's from January 20th, 2023. Here we have it, so we don't have any, BS to deal with like that. Not clear, but it's good enough. There you have MoneyWise and blah blah blah. Saudi Arabia just said they are now open, that's quotation mark, to the idea of trading in currencies besides the US dollar. That means we have to start producing something here in this country. Otherwise, we can't just print money and give them to these guys, and these guys are going to give it the finite product, for instance. You know what I mean? So, does this spell doom for the greenback? Question mark. 3 reasons not to worry. So, Saudi Arabia just said they are now open to the idea of trading in currencies besides the US dollars. Does this spell doom for the greenback? 3 reasons not to worry. From whose perspective? From the Americans? Yes, that spells doom for the greenback, I think. But we're not going to get that far because we have armies, and so you know what I mean? If we don't like something, we're going to point out that some human rights were violated there and there and there, and then we ask for that to change because we can. We can impose on other countries how they run their shit over there, but they can't impose on ours, which is great, right? According to the New World Order. That's one thing. And the other one, if they don't listen to us, you know what I mean? We can impose some quick sanctions, and if that's not enough, we're gonna start blackmailing and threatening. And if that doesn't work, we're gonna get another tool, which is a quick, fast, swift regime change. And if that doesn't work out, something happens over there, and we have to intervene. Got it? These are the steps: threats, blackmail, regime change, military intervention. It's a pattern. Look back. You got the examples. So, the 2023 World Economic Forum has been going on for just a few days, and we are already getting a glimpse of the future the global elites envision for us all. I wouldn't put it that way, but anyway. Saudi Arabia's finance minister, Mohammed Al Jadaan, stunned reporters in Davos when he expressed that the oil-rich nation was open to trading in currencies besides the US dollar for the first time in 48 years. You're gonna take a fall, my man. And I'm quoting, there are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade arrangements, whether it's in the US dollar, the euro, or the Saudi riyal, Al Jadaan said, or in yuan. Let's put it that way. His comments, because they spoke already when Xi Jinping came to Riyadh and spoke with Saudis, that's what he said. I think partly they will have it done in yuan. So his comments are the latest signal that powerful nations across the world are plotting a, and I'm quoting, de-dollarization of the global economy. I don't think so. And if that happens, the United States will still stand and will be in the driver's seat. I guarantee you that. Well, it's hold on to your money. Jeff Bezos says you might want to rethink buying a new automobile, refrigerator, of whether here are three better recession-proof buys. We don't care about that. He's got enough money. So, rebelling against the dollar. The dollar's dominance of global trade and capital flows dates back at least 80 years. Over the last 8 decades, the U.S. has been the world's largest economy, most influential political entity, and most powerful military force. We got to know that one. However, economists from other countries are increasingly worried that the country has weaponized this position of power in recent years. Yeah, recent years. According to the CBC, the US implements sanctions to punish countries in conflict, threatens to devalue its own currency to win trade wars, and leverages it to support its own economy at the expense of the rest of the world. Jesus Christ, guys, how can you say that? You are the what? The money wise? They're gonna close you. They're gonna close you, ban you for saying these kind of things. Unsurprisingly, these moves have inspired a backlash from China, Russia, and other prominent countries. Why not the European Union? Oh, because they're in the pocket of the big boss. Got it. At the 14th BRICS summit last year, BRICS, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the developing countries, the economic little summit. Russian President Vladimir Putin, bad dude, announced measures to create a new, and I'm quoting, international currency standard, end quote. Meanwhile, China has been urging oil producers and major exporters to accept yuan for payments. This rebellion against the US dollar could erode some of its influence, but there are reasons to believe the greenback's dominance will be sustained. Replacing the dollar would be hard. Yeah, hard and slow. The US dollar's dominance is underappreciated. As of late 2022, the greenback accounts for 59.79% of total foreign revenues. In comparison, the euro accounts for 19.66, so 20%, while the Chinese renminbi accounts for just 2.76% of global revenue. So it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. That's true. China could expand its market share by 20-fold and still lag the US dollar by a wide margin. Yes, but they will still the revenue, you know what I mean? But put simply, replacing the US dollar in foreign reserves is easier said than done. Correct. And they got weapons and shit, if you know what I mean. Other countries have a lot of catching up. That's true. Reserve currency status is closely correlated with the size of the issuing country's economy. In other words, the largest economy usually has the reserve currency status. During the 19th century, the British pound was the world's reserve currency because the British Empire's colonies needed it for trade and commerce. For the past century, the US dollar has dominated because the American economy is the largest by far. China's growth has slowed down in recent years, and some believe it will never overtake the US. Meanwhile, Russia was the 11th largest economy before it invaded Ukraine, despite being economically smaller in size than California or Texas. But it was operating in benefit, you know what I mean, in profit, not in deficit. That matters, doesn't it? Uh, it's unbelievable when they tell you, well, this state has this output. Yeah, but it works in deficit. I don't care. You can have a biggest economy. If you are not profitable, you are sinking day by day. Like an institution, like a business. If you spend more than your revenue, you're gonna sink. So you can tell me, yeah, we're General Motors. That's the greatest example that I hate. The General Motors, yeah, we have this, we have that, and you were bankrupt. And then who bailed you out? All of us. In what, 2008 or something, when the government decided to bail you out. What does that mean? And you still have bonuses. General Motors, you still have big millions of dollars as CEOs and all that. How come? Are you still down or up? Where I don't really care. That was anyway. And India is growing rapidly, but it would need to grow 628% to match the US's GDP today. That could take 25 years. Looking at the world and how should I put it, our planet, 25 years is like that. To us, as citizens, humans, is, oh my God, it's 25 years. But if you look at it, 25 years is nothing. If it continues a certain kind of trend, but usually it goes like this. The US will still be okay. Yes, it will be. The final reason Americans shouldn't be worried about the dollar losing influence is that the worst case scenario isn't so bad. Some analysts believe that the future could be more unilateral. The US may lose influence in some segments of the global economy, but not lose dominance everywhere else. For instance, the Chinese yuan could become more important for trade and cross-border payments, but the dollar could remain the preferred reserve currency for central banks of developed nations. That's far from an economic nightmare for Americans. Yee, we're still gonna have everything we want without working. Yes! I would like to thank you. Hey, get those airplanes ready and the tanks and everything else. All right, or NATO. So, yeah, it's unfair, but you see, you look at your personal interest versus what you say you profess to be, fair and world order and so on. We know how things work, and when this is gonna go, how should I put it? The influence of the dollar is not only that you have the biggest economy, but you have an army. Because without that army, you would be invaded and everything you have could be taken away. So always the army protects your profit, how we want to call it, profit, loot, and it's not the same. Not the same in this case. But nevertheless, I think the US shot itself in the foot when it started allowing capital to flow unchecked from the producers, which is the United States of America, to other countries. Supposedly with the benefit that the product will be cheaper. How in the hell these guys survived without that before they started having other countries doing stuff for these guys? I don't know. They try to tell us that without that we will be dead. If we don't, I don't know, if the Mexicans don't manufacture some things for our cars, we can't operate cars anymore. How in the hell Ford did it, GM did it, and others, huh? They didn't build shit in Mexico or other countries, but now we can't, and people still bought cars. Well, it was harder. Well, you know what I mean? You depend on those guys like that. Let's say you have a problem with China, and they say, okay, nothing for you. What are you gonna do? Gonna use this as a, I don't know, sleeping bag or something, because you're not gonna have sleeping bags anymore. Anyway, I don't have here, unfortunately, enough time to talk about these things, but if you're gonna be with me, I will touch up on those here and there during my videos and make 15 minute videos regarding those issues, which I itch to, but we'll see how these people here will allow me to post these videos. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, so don't worry. Look for the truth and be just.